So, hello, good morning or good afternoon, everyone. Happy New Year. We welcome you to our new LinkedIn Live event series, Merging Minds. So, I'm Viveta Jean, AI language specialist and MTP trainer, PhD student in translation, and head of partnerships at BureauWorks. BureauWorks is a cloud based translation management system integrating innovative AI translation technology and the winner of the Process Innovation Challenge at Lockworld 50. Every week, we will meet here with a special guest and hear the voices of our translation industry from all perspectives. And our motto is Talk Fair on Air. So, what is on our plate today? You will get inspired by learning what is the job of a trainer in our industry. You will be informed of courses offered related to translation technology and AI in translation. You will challenge yourself. Are we translation tech literate? You will delve into the mindset of our translators community. You will find solutions to your daily pains when working with CAT tools with the innovative translation tech of BWX. You will hear translator stories from our guests and, as usual, understand, act, interact, and learn with us with our quizzes, polls, and Fair for Fun one. And we will talk fair on air today with Joachim Lepin, who will share with us the story of how to become a lion, how to become a strong personality, but also a localization expert. And Joachim, the floor is yours. Share with us your life story.
Thank you so much, Viveta. Thank you for having me. This is such an honor and so much fun. I think we have something like 190 people attending, and I think this is the perfect topic to get some like a buzz going and some group energy, because we're kicking off 2024, right? And we all have questions about AI and how to position ourselves and all that stuff. So I think this is just such a great idea. So thank you for organizing this. My life story, well, I'll keep it really short, but in a nutshell, I actually started off my professional life as a music teacher of all things. I taught high school. And when I moved back to Quebec, where I'd done my university studies, I happened to take a course in translation and I fell in love. I just absolutely loved the languages and the fact that it's sort of situated midway between a technique or a science, an art and a science, I should say. So I just really loved translation, and I totally started my life over as a translator. And so I was I just absolutely loved everything about it. And I was very inspired by my university teachers. In fact, so much so that I went on to earn my master's degree in education, and I went on to teach the courses that I had loved so much. So I've been teaching university courses in translation for some 15 years. I actually thought that I was done, but because I've moved on to other projects, but I was asked if I would teach one more course this year. So I am teaching a course on how to get ready for the job market as a translator when you're finishing up your university studies. So I'll be teaching that for the University of Sherbrooke in a few months. And yeah, I've been translating myself. I'm mostly an academic translator, but I also translate a lot of marketing materials for creative firms. And I do a little bit of general work. And I've been in the game for over 15 years. I love what I do. And training is just a natural extension of that, really. I get to share all the wonderful things that I learn. And I'm thankful to have the opportunity to help other translators. My whole thing is empowerment. I think it's really important to be confident in ourselves and to be confident about what we do, to charge like professionals, to feel good about our career, good about our services. And so that's what I teach in the context of my courses. I've got workshops on the business side of things, the tech side of things, including AI. And I also talk about language things like English syntax. In fact, just a few days ago, I kicked off Squeak to Roar, which is my first hybrid course for translators on how to land direct clients. So I'm very, very excited to be doing that. And it's all about empowering translators. And that's why I'm happy to connect with BureauWorks and Viveta, because you're also very translator centric. I've noticed that in your approach. And so that really speaks to me.
Thank you very much for this introduction. And yeah, it's your personal story is really inspiring because I checked your intro on LinkedIn, and it's very impressive how you found the strength to overcome all the challenges and be here today like a strong professional. And of course, having the role of the trainer, which is really important in our age. So I'm impressed, and I also have to thank you for being with us today. So let's start with a few questions now, and let's make it fun. So I have like 10 questions planned,
All right.
and you will pick like 5. They are sets of questions actually. So you can pick from 1 to 10, one question for me to ask you.
Sounds good.
Just give me a number. Which number you want me
pick
to
a number
ask?
at random. How about 5?
Okay, 5. Let me check. Okay, so my question is, let's talk about your work as a trainer. What courses do you offer? Like more details about the different courses, and if you have any courses related to AI translation.
Right on. Yes. So technically, Lion Translation Academy, it's an academy for translators that I founded last year with Anne-Marie Boulanger. And we're both Anglophones with French names. So we stand out that way. So we actually sort of cover the gamut because we do technology courses. We do business courses like Squeak to Roar that I just mentioned. And I have one on negotiation that I'm going to be doing soon. And we also cover language like English syntax. I have a popular ITI workshop on words that wow. So words that we rarely think to use as Anglophones, but that really make our translations pop. In terms of AI specifically, it's such an important topic right now. And I think that we need to develop more training around the technology, but also about how we position ourselves with respect to our clients. It's super important. So the first workshop I came out with on that topic was 50 clever ways to use AI for non-translation tasks. That's one that I ran, I believe, in October or November last year. That was very, very popular. I didn't expect to have so many signups. It was a lot of people. And essentially, my take is, let's take a look at what's out there and let's see how we can use it for translation-related tasks. So not necessarily saying, here's my text, translate it. That's not what I'm about. But I might be able to say, hey, go and do this research. So for example, with the new ChatGPT-4 that's connected to the internet, one of the things that I teach in my course is how to develop your unique value proposition. And I was telling people, you can literally go to ChatGPT now and say, hey, take a look at my website and tell me what my unique value proposition is. And ChatGPT will analyze your website and extrapolate information, and it will give you ideas. And that's really where I find that AI shines. It's not necessarily about providing finished solutions. You need a human for that with a brain. But it's really good for sparking ideas that you maybe wouldn't have had otherwise. And that's what I find is exciting. And that's mostly what my workshops focus on. It's like, how can we use it as sort of in a lighthearted way? How can I play around with this and find interesting solutions? And there are also clever little prompts that I've come up with for translating really difficult French words into English. So there are prompts and subprompts you can use to get ideas. And when I look at what ChatGPT comes up with, sometimes I'm like, wow, I would maybe have to change it a little bit, but I never in a million years would have thought of that. And DeepL certainly would not have thought of something like that. So it's really good for coming up with inspiration and just getting you out of a rut, getting you thinking in a new way. And yeah, so that's sort of what I've mostly been focusing on in my training, is like, how can we use it to get some inspiration, and how can we take it lightly and sort of with a little bit of with a pinch of salt, a grain of salt, and how can we also even have a sense of humor about it? Not everything is like super serious and life or death. Sometimes these can be tools to play with, and they can be valuable for that in their own right.
This is great. It's great to hear that a trainer is friendly with AI and technology, and it's great. I mean, the fact that you deal with translators in a way that it is fascinating. The way you have your workshops, your courses, your invites, people love you, translators love you, and this is great. I see it, and yeah, you make it really special. So
Well, thank you.
thank you for that. And now, in terms of translators, do you find that translators are translation technology literate? Is there a resistance or willingness to learn?
Right. I think there's a little bit of everything in our field. You know, for sure there is sort of an old guard. Sometimes translators that have been translating a traditional way a long time will be reluctant to change. And this is something that I started doing about a year ago, is that for large organizations, sometimes they bring me in now for AI and change management. So talking about AI to people who are very reluctant to use it and say, I'm not changing how I work, you know, or I don't want to be a post editor. And so I like to reassure them that, you know, just because you use the latest cutting edge tools, it doesn't mean they define you. You know, you're not a post editor because you use post editing as one item in your workflow. You're still a translator. It's just that you're empowered now with sort of a tool belt, if you will, of new things that you can sometimes use to make your life a little bit easier. So that's been a really important aspect, is like reassuring people that are reluctant. Some people are a very small number of translators, but some of them really embrace it and say, hey, wow, this is kind of fun to play with. And I find the ones that tend to do the best with these technologies sometimes take a lighter approach. And it's like, it's great for some things, really bad for other things. And, you know, so it's not necessarily about adopting it wholesale and being defined by it. It's more like, let's play around with this and see how I might be able to benefit. And sometimes you can save a lot of time. And sometimes there's a generational thing, right? Like if you learn to translate the traditional way, it can be overwhelming because there's so much out there today, so many technologies, the algorithms change every day. It's hard to keep up. It can be super overwhelming. So there's some of that, but it doesn't necessarily mean that young people are like 100% on board with technology and like super technology literate either. And in fact, I've had very interesting conversations with fellow university professors about how tech literacy sometimes is declining in young people. And so take a guess why, Vivetta. Why do you think that like 20-year-olds are struggling with like PC skills, for example? Do you have any idea why?
Why?
So it turns out it's because they're on their cell phones so much. The young people, they don't necessarily spend a lot of time on a computer. That's like an old technology for them in some ways. So sometimes the people that need the most help with learning like how to use PC shortcuts and how to do things effectively when you're in a word processor, sometimes it's the younger people, not the older people. So it's really interesting. Like the level of proficiency varies depending on all kinds of factors, and there are generational differences. So I would say there's a little bit of everything, but I find the translators, again, that tend to thrive and that tend to do well with this stuff often kind of have a sense of curiosity, you know? Let's check this out. Let's find out what it's all about. I think that's a really healthy attitude.
And while you were talking, I'm thinking that maybe the most exciting thing for students would be to be in the same classroom with their teacher, professor, and all of them just looking on their iPhones, whatever phones, to have the course. Just imagine it. It would be more interesting than the live, just checking the screen. Okay, perfect. It was really interesting. And now let's have another question. Pick one.
Let's say 3.
3. Okay. So is there a trainer's gap in translation technology?
A trainer's gap in translation technology, like a gap in terms of what's being offered out there?
A lack of trainers.
Okay, right. I mean, there is a fair deal of training out there. My personal take is that we don't really live in a world with a lack of information. You know, there are even lots and lots of YouTube videos. You can go on company pages and find lots of videos and things. But I do think that there aren't that many trainers that explain it using sort of people words, everyday words that people can follow. And that's sort of what has defined the way that I try to teach. I really try to make it friendly, like user friendly. It's almost like I'm translating between the technical stuff and the jargon. You know, if I'm teaching NMT engines, for example, it can get pretty hairy when you start talking about algorithms and training and things. But if you can make it available to people just using plain English and make it simple, I think it can really help people. And there aren't that many people that aren't that many trainers that really, let's say, specialize in making these advanced technologies easy to use and simple. A lot of my training too focuses on like, what do I need to know, you know? Because a lot of the training that's out there will talk about like, okay, if you go to this menu, there's this item, and they walk you through everything in the software. But the translator doesn't always need to know every little thing in the software. They need to know, what do I need to get my translation done by 3 o'clock today, you know? Like, or what, how do I do this? How do I do that? So I think that there's plenty of information out there, but there's not that much training that's really focused on what do I need to know and sort of how can I understand it in a simple way without making things complicated or overwhelming. So that's sort of where I try to step in as much as I can with the workshops that I do.
Mm-hmm. And I believe that training linguists is as important as training engines. They both need to be trained to improve. And as you said, using the correct language, the correct data, let's say. So let's go to another question. Let's pick.
All right, let's go with number 2. It'll be a countdown.
Number 2. Okay, so how can we educate the audience? Meaning, what do we mean by this question? Because we have audience, for example, on social media, and it may be translators, managers, clients. How can we educate this audience and have them closer to us in this AI technology era?
Right, super important question. I think, you know, looking at the broader picture, the landscape is changing in some ways, like the training landscape is changing. And more importantly, the way we all learn is changing, right? I think that we're going to see an increasing movement towards short form content. So training in short videos, for example, is a really user-friendly way to learn. You know, our attention span is shorter than ever. So I think that training has to adapt to people, has to be available on multiple devices. So having, you know, keeping things short, keeping things to the point, boiling things down to their essentials without getting too bogged down into the details. I think those are all good ways forward, because otherwise it's so, oh my God, it's so overwhelming with AI. There are new apps coming out that use AI. There are new processes coming out. I'm thinking of one agency that came out with like NMT post editing, like a first layer of post editing done by a ChatGPT equivalent. Like, it's so overwhelming. So I think that what we have to do as trainers is generally like say, how do people learn? Well, people today need to learn in short bursts, and we need to boil things down. We need to get better at maybe condensing information and saying, hey, here are the 3 things you need to know. And the more we can do that in our social content, inside of our training, I think the more we're going to be able to help people. Let's start moving away from like, you know, 7-hour courses and going into like short form, or maybe 1 hour a week for a few weeks. You know, I think that's really going to help people quite a lot. It helps me because I take courses myself and I have a hard time concentrating for long periods of time. I think, oh my God, my poor students have to listen to me sometimes for hours and hours and hours. So it would probably help to think about short form content. And there's it helps, you know, your brain can only focus for so long. There's studies that have been done that show after a certain amount of time without a change of state, that the brain starts to disconnect. It's just how we're wired. So I think in general, we need to think about keeping things short and accessible. And, you know, you used the word fun earlier. Why not? We can have fun with learning as well. In fact, studies have also shown that fun is one of the criteria for having a good learning experience. So we shouldn't be ashamed of, like you were using the term infotainment. I laughed a little bit, but it's true. We have to be able to entertain too, in a sense, to make it lively and fresh and fun, because the information's out there today, right? Like you can find anything on YouTube. So I think that what we need is like, we need people that, or we need learning experiences that are more focused on what people need, and that are more readily consumable in an information saturated society.
And it's so important to not to confuse the science, the the importance of information and the validity of information with the format of this information. Meaning that, yes, we can have fun, we can have infotainment, we can engage people, because engagement is active learning. Without active learning, there is no learning. So yeah, first thing is engagement, and then we can go with the content. And as you said, it's very important from our research as well that it is short. And you tell me now, isn't very tiring for translators to read like books of instructions, like 10 pages, even when they receive an assignment? We should find easier ways to train people. And I think you are on it.
Oh, well, yeah, I think it's the direction. I agree with you. And also maybe multi-format. I was taking an online course the other day on pricing strategies, because that's something I teach. So I'm continually updating my own knowledge. Super interesting topic. And one of the things I liked about the course is that they had like a video lesson, and then the next lesson was something to read. And then there's another video, and then there's a little worksheet to do. So that's not another promising avenue, is like changing it up, having multi-format, and so like you said, it's more engaging. And it's an interesting discussion too about like what format is best for learning, because the quality of instruction also matters. Like there's tons of information on YouTube, but a lot of it is bad, right? So it's like, how do you also create content that's going to be reliable, and make it accessible? So it's a good challenge, but I think it's a good one. It's a positive thing. And as we move forward, I think that this trend is already starting to show up. It's just going to become accentuated in the coming years.
Okay, so let's pick another question. We have another 2 picks.
All right, let's go down to, we did 2 last time, right? So we can go down to 1.
Okay. Number 1. So now we touch hearts. So I see that you host some gatherings and nice discussions with translators. Is this a need we have in the translation community? How do translators feel? And do we feel isolated, having a need to collaborate with the community?
Yeah, well, you know what? I would love to hear from our participants. Are they able to write in the chat box?
Yeah, they can. Let's see if we have, because the isolation thing is really important. I mean, we should find ways to work together. We want translators to work together. It's really important to me. It's shared knowledge, shared learning. How do you feel, translators? If we have a translator in the audience, don't be shy. We want to listen to your feelings, to see your feelings.
Absolutely. I'd love to see some chatter. I have my own thoughts, but let's get it directly from the horse's mouth, or directly from the translator's mouth, if we can.
It would be nice, because some years ago, it was only an internal dialogue with your text, not meaningful cooperation, and maybe with the project manager. Now with the automations, this becomes even worse, because even the assignments are automated. You don't have the chance to call someone, talk to someone, say, good morning, how are you? So we don't have this chance.
That's such a good point. Yeah, I see Anna writing very...
Anna.
Natasha wrote, it's like an independent contractor can become way too isolating. Yeah. It can be lonely work. And by the way, working for an agency isn't necessarily like a silver bullet. Sometimes people who work in agencies can be pretty lonely too, depending on what work arrangement they have. So whether you're a freelancer or you're working at an agency, it can be lonely work. It's a lot of work in your head, right? And I remember, like, at my wife's job, she works at a pharmaceutical communications firm. And when I've gone there to meet with the people, I used to do some subbing there for their senior English editor. And when I go in, everyone in the business would be going around talking to colleagues. These people are doing a brainstorm. The tech guys are having a meeting about the new web thing. And like the customer service department is chatting about an issue. And then you go into the translation department, and they literally call it the monastery. You go in there, it's like quiet. all you hear is the typing, right? It's the only part in the business where everyone is like almost all day long, they're doing one task, which is really hard for your brain, right? To spend like 8 hours on the same task. So it does tend to end up getting us like in our own thoughts, in our own bubble. I feel that at the end of my day, sometimes I'm too much in my own bubble, and it's not even healthy, you know, if you're too isolated. So, and I see other people writing similar things.
Yeah, we have a comment like that there was one meaning that there is miscommunication. It's not only the lack of communication, but it is the miscommunication between the different parties. There is Anik who says that she doesn't feel isolated because she was working among a team. I had an experience working among a team, but we were all very silent. So, yeah, you just feel that you are in company. And what else? And Michelle says she doesn't feel isolated thanks to the LinkedIn community and other translator forums that she belongs to. So yeah, this is nice. The community on LinkedIn, I really like it. It makes us feel alive.
Definitely. I've gotten so much out of LinkedIn. I wasn't even on there a few years ago. And then the day I realized that it was kind of like a tribe out there of other translators who kind of connect and encourage each other, and it leads to real conversations or events like this one. So I really have found LinkedIn is great for translators. If I may maybe give a suggestion or a tip that could be helpful, because I see some people writing that they're also very isolated. Mina wrote, sometimes I think about quitting because of this aspect. There are many translators who leave the profession because they get so lonely. One thing that really helps me personally is that I'm on Skype. Believe it or not, Skype still exists. I'm a little bit old school, but Skype still exists. And I'm on Skype with my friend Anne-Marie. She's also a translator. And every day we touch base. Like every morning, we'll often just write to each other a few things like, hey, how's your day? Then I'll say, oh, my kid's home from school again. It's a complete disaster. My day's a dumpster fire, you know, and she'll share what's going on in her life. And just having that one little conversation in my day, or having someone, if I have a tricky translation, I can't figure out how to translate a word, I can just tell her, hey, Anne-Marie, I'm stuck. Have you ever seen this before? And she'll give me some ideas, or vice versa. Just having one person that I call it the buddy system. If you can form a buddy system with another translator and you just touch base every day and just have a short chat, I find it really helps with the isolation, because I'm an introvert. I don't need like lots of social contact, but the little bit that I need, it's crucial that I get it. You know, it's almost like my vitamins. A vitamin is a tiny thing, but if you don't take your vitamins, at some point one day you start getting problems, and it's the same for me. So having a buddy that I can turn to every day is like, it's been really helpful for my mental health and feeling less alone. So if you can buddy up with another translator, I highly, highly recommend it.
Yeah, it's really nice, although it is a matter of personality, because some translators don't want at all to get annoyed while they're working. And even Dindin, you know, on Slack, WhatsApp, whatever, is really annoying. So I believe it is isolation. It is also a matter of personality, of what kind of person you are. But in general, what we mean here is that we need to collaborate, ask for help, ask for exchanging ideas. And yes, the social networks and the trainers and the gatherings really help with this. And I know that you have very nice gatherings, Joachim, especially the one before Christmas.
Oh,
it was very warming.
It was really fun.
Okay.
Just an hour where we got together and said, hey, how are things going? And going into the holidays, how do you feel about next year? And we formulated some goals together, and it was a really, really fun event. And I love doing things like that. You know, not everything has to be on a very serious or sort of hard science topic. Like sometimes it's nice to just do a gathering like the one we're doing today, just doing a gathering where we can connect with others. And we try to do that with our academy, to have different tiers. Like if you want to come to a free event, come to a free event. If you want to come to a small workshop, come to a small workshop. If you want to do Squeak to Roar and get support for 6 weeks and start landing direct clients consistently, you can get in-depth support to do that as well. So that's really what I hope to keep developing, is like helping people wherever they're at, because not everyone is in the same place and needs the same level of support.
Yeah, and it is highly appreciated. So let's go to our last question. Question number 5. What is your pick?
Okay, let's go to 7.
Mm-hmm. So, as you have trained so many linguists and you care a lot about translators and you are passionate about your training, what is a story that you experienced and was funny or unique related to an attitude of a translator towards AI, and how did you approach it?
Right. Well, I do have a good one. This is something that it happened more than once, so I'm not going to single out a single person. But when NMT was starting to be widely adopted, I had several translators, so freelance translators, that literally called me on the phone during my workday and say, "Hey, Joe, I know you coach translators. I really need some advice. I've now moved to using NMT, so how much less should I charge for my services now? Like, should I charge like 3 cents less? Should I charge 5 cents or 10 cents less?" And I was flabbergasted to hear this, because it's like there was this automatic assumption that a lot of people had, that just because they were using a new tool, they should charge less, you know? And so that was something that happened to me several times. It really floored me. I'm like, they just want a number, right? Like, Joe, give me the magic number. How much should I charge? And so I sort of walked them through a little bit of reflection. I said, well, let's stop thinking about the translator view. Let's think about the client view. What happens if you start using NMT? Well, the client is going to get their translation a little faster. Maybe they'll get it 10% faster or 15% faster at no extra cost to them. No extra cost. Is that more value, or is that less value that you're providing? Right?
Mm-hmm.
It really gets people thinking, like, wait a second, speed is of the essence in most translation projects. Getting it faster is more value, not less. That's worth more, right? Let's think from the client's point of view. Just like if they were doing business with a graphic designer that's able to get a job faster, or an architect, right? It's more value, not less. And plus, the translator has to invest in the technology. They have to invest in the training as well to be able to use it, in maintenance and all kinds of things. So so that's something that happened to me several times. It's like, how much less do I charge? And I'm like, whoa. let's back up a minute. And that's not necessarily how things are done in other fields. In fact, many professions have embraced AI, and because they're delivering provable added benefit, they're charging more.
That's a very nice approach, a very fair approach. Yeah, you cannot quantify it right now because we don't have the research facts to make it fair. So a trainer's ethical answer is what you said. And it's actually what we're doing when translating. We say, okay, let's go to a client. Let's go with what we feel that it is. And then we can adjust if we see that something goes wrong. We should have this opportunity right now because things are not really clear unless the client does not want, correlates quality with speed, and they don't want exactly the quality that we would like to deliver, like the standard one. But this is another topic, let's say. Okay, so yeah, this was interesting. Thank you very much. And let's go now to squeeze your mind, Joachim. So I'm going to share my screen and we're going to have a quiz. So I want to check if you know things about our technology, about BWX. So let me present now my screen. So you're going to see something like a Slido screen, but you don't need to do anything because for this time, we're going to make it work fast. So we see here the screen. And let's start the quiz. So you will see on the screen the question. Okay. So this is not it. So let me share again. So here, one moment, or I will just use my questions if I cannot show them for the audience. Okay, I think it's here. So share screen again. Here we are. And here is the first question. We can see it. What is the technology used to fine-tune the style of the translator in BWX? Neural machine translation, artificial intelligence, deep learning, or linguistic pattern recognition? What do you think?
I'm going to go with deep learning, option C.
Let's see. Yeah, deep learning. Well
All
done.
right, 1-1.
So next question. Which feature of BWX would we use to get a warning about a potential quality challenge? Alternative suggestion, warning tags, translation smells, or challenge detector?
I believe it's C, translation smells.
Yeah, correct.
All right.
You
Yeah,
are amazing. Good. So, number 3. What are the AI-powered functions in BWX that secure quality? Translation warnings, tax fixing, ChatGPT suggestion, tax corrector. B. Translation warnings, proofreading, fixing tags, alternative suggestion. C. LQA, speller, terminology verifier, translation smells. Or D. There's a spelling there, like typo. Translation smells, proofreading, fixing tags, alternative suggestion.
This one's a little bit trickier. Let's see.
Yeah, it is. It is confusing. I think I don't know the answer.
I'm going to go with, I'm hesitating between C and D. Let's see. How about terminology verifier? That sounds like a solid way to secure quality. Let's go with C again.
You go for C?
I'm going to go for C.
Okay. It is, let me see what it is. It is D, actually. It is translation smells, proofreading, fixing tags, and alternative suggestion. So, yeah, but this is good because you prove that you are a trainer and you fail and learn. So
That's right.
Let's go to the next one. So which engine and ChatGPT are used by BWX? This is okay. This is tricky again. DeepL and ChatGPT 3, DeepL and ChatGPT 4, Microsoft Azure and ChatGPT 3, 5, and 4, Google Translate and ChatGPT 3, 5, and 4.
Pretty sure it's either C or D. I believe I remember in the video he mentioned 3.5 or 4, so let's go with C again. I'm all about C today. I'm just going to keep saying C.
It's the C day. Okay.
Yay.
So, yeah, it's C. Microsoft
Right.
Azure and ChatGPT 3, 5, and 4. You did really well because, okay, the question before it was really confusing. And I have another one. It's about security. What is the security certificate used by BWX? SSL TLS certificate, Secure AI certificate, SOC 2 Type 2 certificate, or ISO 27001 certification?
Let's go with A this time.
SSL?
Yep.
It's SOC 2 Type 2 certificate.
It was C. Oh no, I deviated from my plan, and that's what happens.
Yeah, exactly. So you did great though, because yeah, you cannot know everything, and that's why now I'm going to start with you the interesting part, which is going to be a demo. So let me see if we can go here.
And Vivetta, I have to tell you a little story. Can I jump in with just a little story? Because we've switched to talk about BureauWorks, and
yeah,
the first
sure. Oh, I cannot hear you, Jackie. It's me. Yeah, are we back?
Can you hear me now? Check, check. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, sorry about that. The first time I heard about BureauWorks was at the ATA conference last year in Florida. And there was an FBI booth, and then not very far away, there was BureauWorks. And I went by and I thought, oh, this must be that FBI again. How cool is that the FBI is at the ATA conference? And I stopped by and then I realized it was not the FBI. And I tried it out. I tried the demo of BureauWorks, and I have to tell you, it's a really great tool because it's very translator-centric. So anyway, just wanted to put that in there. That's how I first heard about it. It's a really cool approach.
That's good to know. Fantastic. Yeah, we like stories about BureauWorks. And yeah, so I have this environment, you know it because you have used it, of BWX, and I decided to have a text, which was my pain around Christmas. If you have checked the video, like this client sending me this text with full of tags, and what am I going to do? So this is the famous text, and it is a European Commission text, actually. So let's see how it goes here. It is English to French, as I said, and here you can see the result coming from AI translation. Because you are the expert, I know that we don't have now the chance to check the terminology, but how does it look? Are you happy with the result from AI?
Are you asking me personally?
Yeah. It says
Okay,
General Exemption Regulation. And the translation is, apologies for the pronunciation, I have not been in France lately, Règlement Général d'Exemption par catégorie.
Oh, well, I translate from French into English, so I get a free pass.
Okay,
Sorry,
okay.
I have no idea, Vivetta.
So,
it worked the other way.
so here, no problem. We will check it the other way. But for now, we can see that the translation is incorrect because le terme bloc a été omis dans la traduction. And how can I solve this? Because you don't, we want to have now, let's see. So here I have this translation smells language, and I go with default. So now I can refresh it and it will be translated into English. So let's see. So here we are. So what we're going to use is here an AI-powered feature, which is translation smells, as we checked in the questions, and it gives you warnings when there is something wrong in the translation. So translation smells is not like, it cannot tell you if it is correct or not, but it just gives you the warning. So if there is no translation smells, you can still have an error. And if there is, you may not have an error if I try to do it the correct way. So the term bloc is missing in the French translation. A more accurate translation would be Règlement Général d'Exemption en bloc. We don't know if this is correct or not, but we have the warning, and this is the good thing about this technology. So one feature that translators can use is check smells. Then there is another case. For example, here you can see that we have errors like spell checking errors, and they are marked here. So it doesn't matter that you are not a native speaker, you can understand that there is an error. So what we can do here is to use the proofread, and automatically it's going to correct the error. And it was really interesting that it can also find the numbers that are missing from the source. For example, it was missing 994 and some numbers, so it corrects everything here. Fantastic. So this was another example. The most fascinating, and you see the placeholders in the French translation should be replaced with the actual regulation numbers 994 and 733. So it goes here. So I have to go and take this number and have it here because it is marked. There is a placeholder and it is missing. So here we are. And the other one is 994. So 994, and that's it. We solved it. So another thing that is really important for translators are these naughty tags. So here we see that we don't have the tags, and probably translation smells will not find it, but we see that they are missing. So how can we tackle this? We just go here and click Fix Tags, and the tags are going to be placed in their position. And we fix this, this problem, which is really often to happen. It happens really very much. So especially with the
formatting, right? Yeah, anything formatted with formatting or a converted PDF, those are the absolute worst.
Exactly, exactly. So this is a great help fixed tags, and tags are in place. So this is one of the favorite features of translators, especially, as you said, when they are dealing with bad PDFs that have been OCR'd. And another impressive thing is, because it has deep learning, but it also has semantic verifiers, we can have alternative suggestions. As we said in the questions, it has SOC 2 Type 2 certificate. So anything that happens with this interface is really secure. So you don't go out of this interface to go to ChatGPT or anything else to find questions, to find answers or alternative suggestions. You just have to go here and click alternative suggestion, and then it's going to work like what I call a semanticpedia, and it's going to give you not only the alternative suggestion, but the whole explanation about why this is a good alternative suggestion. And you can see it here. So we have the suggested translation, the alternative, and we have an explanation why this is a good alternative. So these are some of the main features. And as Gabriel puts it really well, our CEO, it is not working with segments, with translation units. It is not any more isolated sentences. It works with context. So everything becomes context here. It is the translation memory data, the glossary data, the results of the MT, the results of the AI, everything works together with deep learning. And for example, if you use a glossary, here you can just go and here we are, and you can add the term, for example, by clicking here. Now I lost it. Here it is. You can add the term. And once you add the terms, then the system learns. And the next time it's going to recognize the term. So it corrects the TM, it corrects everything around, and you will never have inconsistencies in terminology. And it even learns your style while you are typing. So if you have specific preferences in terms of style, this is going to be learned by the system, and you become sort of a teacher. So this is more or less what we do here with this kind of technology. And we want translators not to be prompt engineers, not to be like technology people. We just want them to do what they do, but be facilitated in their work in a nice way. And we treat translators like experts. So this is how we feel.
That is wonderful. I so agree with that vision of things. And just little details there that I'm noticing, you know, like it's really annoying. I can never remember the shortcut to add a new term to my glossary when I'm in my memory. And just being able to have things quickly at your fingertips, whether it's fixing tags or adding terms, it's really nice to just have it there, named what it actually is, you know, not a weird name that you have to go look up what it's supposed to do. You know, it's very translator centric, and that's what's attracted me to your software. It's like you can tell it's designed with a translator in mind, so that it makes things easier, not harder.
As you said, shortcuts. I can also share the keyboard shortcuts that we can use here. So you see that we have the good ones, not confusing things.
Yeah, simple. Yeah, I love it.
Good. So how was the experience, Joachim?
Well, I've had a blast. And it's I've really enjoyed using BureauWorks. I think that this can only benefit translators because it's designed with translators in mind. It's a translator centric tool that just makes things a little bit easier for us. Yeah, I've started using it myself and finding it really helpful. So I'm always happy to recommend tools that I actually use myself and that I think are good tools for translators and will save time rather than waste time. There are tools out there that waste my time. So yeah, if anyone here wants to try it out, absolutely go try your free trial. You get 30% off the first 3 months if you use the link provided in the comments. And yeah, I have a 65-page translation that I'm doing this month, and I'm doing it all on BureauWorks. So I'm excited to keep going.
Oh.
And yeah, it's just stuff like fixing tags. Like it's really a pain when you're working with, especially with a large document. So it slows down your memory a little bit, and then you spend your day fixing tags, and it's like you spend hours just on stuff that it doesn't bring anything positive to you as a translator to have to do that kind of stuff, fixing tags and numbers. It's really wonderful that you're able to take care of those things a little bit faster so we can focus on our expertise, like you said.
This is an amazing thing to hear from a trainer, because we believe in our technology, but if you have used it and you feel the same, we're even happier to contribute to the translator's work and facilitate it. So thank you very much, Joachim, for this. Now, I have two more things for you to do today together. So I will ask you a question. So let's talk fair now. We need to be open, fair, honest, and bold. We have all had the translation fail, and this is how we learn in the end. Can you tell us about a translation fail you had, something funny or something that was hard and you learned from it?
Gosh, I wrote down an answer to this. It's not the sheet in front of me. So I'm going to have to be authentic and think about a good fail here. Are you talking about specifically in terms of a translation or anything in my career, perhaps?
No, I don't want to make it difficult, because I know how difficult it is for people to, when you ask them something, oh, I need to answer. Whatever feels best for you. Any failure is good because we learn.
I can think of one thing. It's just something silly, really, but this happened to me last year, that I translated a document for a client, and then I only worked in my memory. I didn't have the source document open while I was working, so I didn't follow my own rule. And when I sent my question into my client, they said, Joe, didn't you see the comment? You didn't have to translate all those pages. We only needed these other pages later at the end. I thought, oh my God, I've lost an entire day of work. There was no way to recoup it. So, but I've done dumb stuff. That's how you learn as part of the process. So I try to laugh about it. But yeah, I always keep the source document open now, because I never want to waste that time again. And it brings up a good point too, which is that no matter how good the tool is, I think it's great. This is one of the top 10 tips that I gave you. I gave 10 tips for post editing that you can grab in the chat. I think I have the link somewhere. But always have your source document open. Always have it open for context, no matter what tool you're using, because it's super easy to miss things or to not realize how the text works together, in the finalized format that it's in. So, but I've done lots of dumb stuff. Those are the best ways to teach sometimes. It's like, I don't do what I did. I messed up. Here's a better way to do it. Well, it's not really something that I messed up, but something that I've learned over time that's helped a lot is, like, instead of using the same tools and process for every job, when I receive a job now, I take the time to look at it and I think, okay, what did the client send me? What's the best tool for this job? What's going to be the best NMT engine? What's going to be the best CAT tool? Because I find that different tools have different strengths and weaknesses. And compared to when I was starting out my career and I tried to do everything in one memory that was supposed to do everything, now I'm able to, use one software for my term extraction, and then I'm going to choose the right memory, or I might use BureauWorks, whatever it might be. I'm strategic about it. I'm thinking, what did I receive? What's going to be the best tool for this job? And that has put a lot more money in my pockets, because I'm able to work much faster and more efficiently and get more translated in less time, because I'm really being strategic about the tool I use. So I pay for different kinds of software. I have more than one memory. I have more than one CAT tool. I have all kinds of stuff. And that's been transformative for me. So it's not really a fail. Maybe I'm cheating in terms of the question, but when I started off, I just sort of used what everyone else was using and did everything one way. And now I'm more like, let's think about the job, find the right tool for it. And I also experiment with new tools to see what's going to be most useful. And that's really paid off, like literally paid off, right? Because when you have the right tool, like, let's talk about those tags. If you spend a whole day fixing tags in a 1-month project, that's time that you can't spend on other things. So yeah, just two things that come to mind.
Very important. What you touched now, the strategies, the translation strategies, how to, you check a text, what is going to be your resources, your terminology, your tools, your engines, your MT, your TM. all these assets make part of a strategy, and it's
Totally.
not only training in translation or post-editing or whatever is the technique or the process that you use. It's also about, as you have dealt with it, it is marketing for translators. It is also strategies for translators, well-being for translators, so many things that we need to know, we need to learn, we need to be trained, because we are like small businesses. So we need to know everything to survive. And thank you very much for this. So now we're going to go for our fast five, the Translators Gambit. And this goes like this. We're going to have 5 questions, but Joachim, here you need to reply really fast with the shorter answer possible. Okay? So I don't have a timer today, but just think it should not be more than 10 seconds. Let's say, okay, 15. Okay. So we start. Ready?
Oh.
Okay. So what's the weirdest thing you've experienced with AI?
The weirdest thing, hallucinations. I was translating a text the other week, and it translated une discussion en triade, a triad discussion between 3 people, and AI translated it as having a 3-way. So that would be a pretty weird thing to hand it to a client.
What's one tool or tip you can share that makes you most productive?
Rest. That would be my number 1 tip. Seriously, translating is such hard work, and we spend so much time on one task compared to other professionals that have lots of different types of tasks in their day. So I really think that if you want to be productive, eat well, eat healthy, and rest your brain during your day, because it's hard work.
What's the biggest myth people believe when it comes to translation and technology?
I guess the big myth today is that it's going to replace us. It sounds obvious, but a lot of clients really do think maybe in a few years we'll be phased out, and it's not going to happen. I mean, I look at the text I translate and all the question marks I left in the text for the client, things that they said the opposite of what they meant, a sentence that's backwards that makes no sense at all. There's just no way that the technology is going to replace us. So, but we have to sometimes remind our clients gently about.
Next question. What's your favorite word in your native language?
I like the word poise, you know, in my translations. Like, instead of saying we are getting ready to take over the market, we are poised to conquer new markets. I just love that word. It's so beautiful. Poise.
Nice. Using one word, how would you describe AI?
I would say opportunity. I refuse to be a pessimist. I think we can use it to our advantage, just like other professions are, if we're proactive with it.
Nice. I love it. So opportunity. And at this point, I think we are okay for today. And I would like to thank you very much, Joachim. I have something for the audience. Let me share my screen, because we're planning to participate in ELIA together in February. And BureauWorks is the sponsor of the pre-conference day of the workshop, where I will be the trainer how to post-edit with BWX. So let me share my screen to show you where you can go and find it. Okay, so here it is. You can go here, this website, and you can see that here, 21st of February, we have this how to efficiently post-edit with BWX generative AI, and it is something like a hands-on. We're going to learn together techniques and strategies, as we discussed with Joachim, about how to post-edit using our tool, BWX. So I would like to thank you very much for being with us. Thank you very much, Joachim. Any closing remark from you?
Thank you for holding this. Thank you to everyone for being here. You know, you put your valuable time into this. I hope you've gotten a lot out of it and that it's been helpful in some small way. So yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you. We're honored. It was a pleasure. It was fun. It was learning. So yeah, until next time, thank you to the audience. A big thank you for being warm and participating. So until next time, talk fair on air, and see you next week. Thank you very much. Have a lovely day.
Thank you. Bye now.